Welcome everyone to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I am Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
I'm Specialist David Erskine.
And I'm Sergeant Tim Andrews.
So you guys are probably kind of wondering what's going on right now because Specialist Erskine is not in the video if you're watching on YouTube, but he is phoning in right now, which is the first time that we've tested that out. So it's pretty cool that we can actually do this.
Yeah, he's with us in spirit. We'll try to do something like they do on Star Wars. Once someone passes away, they do that blue figure or whatever.
Yeah, it's not quite that bad. I was running a fever today. I didn't want to infect everybody in the office. We said we were going to do the podcast at 9 this morning.
Yeah.
This was a viable option, so we went for it.
Yeah, well, I think it's it kind of worked out because now we know that we're capable of doing this because we were kind of hesitant before when we first got this piece of equipment. We weren't sure how it worked and all that fun stuff. So it's kind of cool to actually test it out. And I'm glad that you decided not to come in because I really don't feel like getting sick.
It's not that epidemic sickness, is it?
No,
Okay.
no, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Like I mentioned before, my wife works at the hospital, and every now and then she'll bring home some kind of cold or something, and she brought something home.
So what you're saying is it's her fault.
Oh yeah, it's most definitely her fault.
Well, you can't blame her for being selfish. She gave you all the sickness too.
Yeah, no. I mean, she did share. I mean, she brought enough for the whole class for sure. Now, luckily, my son hasn't gotten sick as of yet, but I thought I got past it. Like I thought I dodged the bullet because she's been sick for like a couple of days, and she was like, "Do you feel bad yet?" And I was like, "Nah, good." You know.
Yeah, because she was rubbing it on your pillow before you went to bed.
I don't doubt it. So, last night I was sitting there and I was like, God, it's hot. And then I was like, oh, it's cold. And I was like, oh, no, I have a fever.
Oh, man. All right, so this podcast is going to be a little different. We don't have any guests. It's just the three of us, and we're just going to kind of talk about what's been going on lately and what is coming up in the near future.
I guess the biggest thing that's been going on recently, if you haven't been following our content, is we're just outside of, we just had the Best Warrior competition recently.
Mm-hmm.
And we put out a lot of content for that. It was good stuff. It was good competition. Everybody was out there. They were working hard, giving it their all, kind of the whole 9 yards. It was a super exciting event to watch. And so if you haven't checked out the content yet on that we did on Best Warrior, it's out there. YouTube. We did a couple podcasts, videos. So yeah, check that out. And now the cool thing about the Best Warrior is not just the warrior part, but also that was Sergeant Andrews' first big video kind of field event with us in the office.
Yeah, I think it was fun. It was a lot different than last year, obviously. Having a third person definitely helped. And I thought it was cool that we were able to produce other product other than just focusing on a video. It definitely added to our workload, but I think it was cool to be able to, we were able to shoot podcasts in the field. I mean, we knew that we could do it. We just didn't know how they would turn out. So that was pretty cool that we were able to test that out. And then also turn those podcasts around quickly enough to get the content out so that it was relevant to what was going on. And then we also did a couple social media posts, which I thought was cool, learning how to use different apps and stuff on your phone, because you don't have to do everything from a camera. You can use your phone for certain things, and it was cool to be able to post what was going on that day in a timely manner so that people could see what was actually going on, and then it leading up to the final product, which was the video. So it was a lot of fun. I know, Andrews, hopefully you learned a lot.
Oh, yeah, I learned a ton. It was, I enjoyed it. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be with two people, but
yeah, it's a lot.
It was fun being able to learn a lot and then being able to really test the equipment in the field, and I just got a huge learning experience from that, and I'm thankful for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Sergeant Andrews brings up a good point. I think that's for any soldier really out there is, a lot of times we see our equipment in the office or sitting in the armory or whatever, and we walk around it and we're like, yeah, we got this, and yeah, I know everything on this vehicle or this camera or whatever it is. And then you start getting into like actual field related training with it, and all of a sudden you figure out That's not quite working the way it was working when it was sitting on the armory floor or in our office, and we ran into that problem,
Yeah.
with the cameras and stuff. Because that was the first time we'd really used that new camera out in the field setting and using the gimbal and stuff, and we realized, when you're in a controlled environment, equipment tends to act one way, and when you get to the field, it tends to act another way. So we learned that we have more to learn
Yeah.
about our equipment.
Exactly. But it was definitely a great training experience because, I mean, last year I was shooting my Osmo most of the time. And I mean, you had your camera. So to actually have a second camera body and then the gimbal and learning how to use that, I mean.
And you got to break out your drone.
Yeah, we got some really good shots with that. So I'm glad we were able to do that.
That's what's been going on. But down the road, we're looking to be super busy. I mean, we're headed in that time of year. Regionals are coming to South Carolina this year for everybody who doesn't know. And so that'll be here kind of right at the beginning of summer, end of May, 1st of June. We've got all our content coming out in March, the 31 days of content. So we're getting geared up and prepping that up this month. And then, of course, for the state as a whole, we're about to hit annual training season for everybody. Plus summer and travel and all that. But really the big thing is going to be, annual training for people. And hopefully we'll be having some content relevant to annual training coming out over the next couple months.
And y'all are going to be cranking out a lot of, we all are going to be cranking out a lot of content when it comes to March.
Yeah, I just want it to be known again that was a Specialist Erskine's idea. So if it flops, I want it to be known that it was his idea. But when you first brought that to me and we were laying everything out and I'm looking at this calendar and I'm like, how is this going to be possible? And like now that we're getting in the swing of things, we're getting everything set up for it. I think it's going to turn out. Like, I'm still a little nervous about it, not going to lie, but I'm not as overwhelmed as when I first heard about the project, so.
Yeah, and everybody, like I said, I mean, we're not just putting out content to put out content that month, but there's going to be a lot of how-to stuff that we're doing that's going to be relevant for soldiers and airmen out there. A lot of prep stuff. We are going to cover some stuff that'll be useful going into annual training, as well as they'll be, getting to know people in the military. They'll just be, or in the Guard, and there should be some entertaining and fun content also, kind of highlighting some of our folks and some of the things we do here in the South Carolina National Guard.
Yeah, I like that you bring that up because the idea of this project wasn't to just dump random stuff on our YouTube. Like, it was strategically thought out to, okay, what kind of videos can we create? What kind of content will be interesting to where people are going to want to watch a video from us every day in the month of March. So we have some cool stuff. Hopefully it'll turn into something that we can do outside of the month of March where, like you were saying, the how-to videos. There's a couple other things that we have. Don't want to give you all the spoilers, but it might be something that after March we can continue to do on a regular basis as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an opportunity for the members of the South Carolina National Guard to interact with us throughout the month of March and say, hey, we found this type of video helpful, or we found this type of video entertaining. We'd like to see, more content like this. So this is an opportunity outside of, a challenge and something for us to do and try to innovate what we're doing on YouTube, but also a chance for soldiers and airmen and civilians and the general population of South Carolina to give us feedback and say, hey, this was a helpful video. This was, like I said, educational or whatever it may be. And then that gives us an idea of what kind of stuff we can add in, type of content that we continue to produce. Because ultimately that's the whole purpose of YouTube and the podcast and iTunes and all that kind of stuff, is to create information for consumption that you, the listeners, viewers, want.
And I don't know how many people we've encountered. They're like, you guys have we have a YouTube channel. The National Guard or the South Carolina National Guard has a YouTube channel. We're like, we never heard about this. And then us putting that on like the Know Your Mill, the podcast, and having all the various guests on here talking about a lot of topics, informative, and letting people know like, hey, this is what's actually going on. Or thanks to like with the new rifle qualifications and stuff like that. I saw that when we have our unit Facebook group or whatever, and someone actually posted that video on there. So
so we're getting out there.
yeah, we're trending.
I know. I feel like a lot of we're still trying to reach out to people and explain what our job is, what we do, because there's still a lot of people that don't know what we do, and especially the M-Day soldiers, it's hard to get the information to them. That's why we're creating all these videos, and we're trying to boost our YouTube channel, because it's so hard to get the message out to them and to relay that, because these officers and sergeant majors and first sergeants, they can sit in these meetings all day long, and we can feed them all this information and all these tools and stuff, but unless that information is getting passed down to them, they have no idea. Because like you were saying, when we were at Best Warrior, half of them was like, we didn't even know that you were at MOS. We didn't know that you guys did the podcast. We didn't know this and that. And that's why we're continuing to do these types of videos and products, because we're trying to reach those M-Day soldiers so that they have somewhere that they can go and get this information.
Right, and just a quick nod, since we brought up Best Warrior and people finding out about us and stuff like that. It is official. Our 401 subscriber took us international.
Yep.
Our German military counterparts that were at the Best Warrior competition, we obviously did the field podcast with them, and they wound up subscribing to our YouTube and our additional social media and stuff like that. So we went international.
So we're famous now, right?
Yeah. We went international.
Watch out, YouTube. We're coming for you.
That's right. We might not be 500 subscribers yet, but we are international officially now. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're getting there. We're at, last time I checked, 409, slowly creeping up. Maybe I think March will definitely bring us some feedback and all that kind of stuff. But
so, I mean, we're once again kind of back to the AT season and stuff like that. And this is kind of a bridge between Best Warrior and AT coming through. We actually have one of the soldiers out there have a very lengthy conversation with us about YouTube and what type of information and stuff that we're putting up there. And, I explained to them, we have education, and they explain, education benefits and, the rifle stuff. And we have people come in and talk about exercise and all this stuff. And we've done some annual training videos, and we're going to update them. We're going to do more. So, I mean, this is a good spot because it's not us. It's not our tips and tricks. I mean, we might have some opinions on our tips and tricks for annual training, but we're going to talk to people, around the state that, just like you, are going to go to annual training. And some, have been doing it for years and years. And so even for people who have been going for years and years, you might pick up a new, trick or tip or something that they do for it for newer soldiers and airmen that find themselves in that situation. Then there could be stuff there that you don't know that, once again, will help you. And that's the whole purpose of it. And headed into the spring, summer stretch, the Guard is usually extremely busy with training schedules and stuff like that. And so hopefully on our part, now that we've tested the field podcast, hopefully we'll be able to get out to some of y'all's annual training events, and you might be out there. You might be on the podcast with us. Who knows?
Yeah. You never know where we're going to be and who we're going to try to grab and talk to. So,
outside of that, we still have, a little bit of time before summer, and before AT season. So, we'll, we got to make sure that, we get the safety messages and stuff, because those are always important to have. And we try to get those type of things on the YouTube channel, either in the short video format or get them involved in the podcast or something, so that y'all have that information. And I know for people who've been around the Guard for a minute or whatever, we're like, oh, another safety briefing or this, or I've heard this 100 times. That's all fine and good. I mean, it's still good, even for people who've been around, to have reminders of that information. But it's vital for your soldiers and airmen that haven't been in maybe as long, and definitely need that information. So that's why that content keeps cycling. There's changes to the regs and what needs to be done and how it needs to be done and things like that. So as always, we'll make sure we cover the bases, but we are looking to push it over the next couple months to new stuff, to more interesting and I guess personal level type content that matters to soldiers and airmen.
Well, and I think we've kind of talked about a few things, and I don't want to put out any more spoilers because I don't want to give all our secrets away. But I mean, I think, like you were saying, that safety, people they get bored with it and everything, but there's fun ways that we can talk about it and create content for it. So hopefully we can come up with some cool ideas to get that information out to you guys, so that it's not just us sitting here talking about it. Like, you can get excited about it, I guess, in a sense. I don't know. But we have some tricks up our sleeves that we're going to be pulling out soon, hopefully. We'll see.
And then this is an opportunity for you, the listeners and viewers and stuff, to interact with us. And that's cool. I know there's some issues with YouTube right now as far as leaving comments and things like that. That's not us. YouTube actually says they're having an issue with it. You can kind of pick one or the other type situation, and Sergeant Andrews has been tracking and following that to get a fix there. So I know it's not right now. It's not quite available to make comments on YouTube, but we still have other social media outlets and stuff for y'all to reach out to us. And if there is something, if you're either in a leadership position and say, hey, this is something my soldiers or my airmen could use, to have a video out there for, hit us up for it, and let's see if it's something that we can accomplish. If you're a younger soldier out there and you have, or airman, and you have a question, or even if you're an older soldier and you got a question, or airman, because I still got questions. Maybe we can find the right person, to come in and talk about it. So this is, as much as it seems that, it's our show, it's not really. It's a show that we create for y'all. And the content we create is for y'all ultimately. So yeah, interaction and feedback on this stuff is great.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you had on your mind to talk about, Specialist Erskine, since I can't look at you in the face right now and determine if you have more to say?
No, I think we covered some stuff.
Yeah.
This is just a nice little piece, leading into what's coming up. This wasn't supposed to be a kind of hard-hitting podcast, as it were. It was just supposed to be something to kind of prep up the listeners and viewers, and then, of course, hopefully y'all are sharing this content with everybody y'all know out there, so that they can get access to the same information and content. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to see that this phone call thing worked out. Of course, it does make taking sick days a little bit more interesting now.
Now you have no excuse.
It's like, yeah, just get him on the phone. We'll do the podcast while he's sick. I'm like, guys, I'm in the hospital with an IV in. I'm not today, folks. I'm not today. But, they'll be like, I don't care. The phone works. You can do it.
Yeah, but this also allows us to reach out to people who can't get to us. Because, I mean, it's awesome to be able to go out in the field, but, I mean, we get busy, too, to where we can't go and leave the office. So if there's somebody that is in the upstate, low state, other side of the state, I don't know, anywhere other than Columbia, we know that we can now do this, which is awesome because some people just don't have the time, or their schedules are crazy, but they might have 10 or 15 minutes where they can call. So, yeah, I think this was great. I was a little frazzled because I got a phone call and Erskine was like, did you get my email? And I'm like, no, what email? Which I still haven't gotten. And we had to figure this out on the fly. So I'm glad that it works and we know how it works, and excited to test it out over the next couple weeks and stuff like that.
Yep.
But all right, well, I guess that wraps it up for this episode. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We are so close. I mean, we're inching up to 500, so hopefully we can hit that here soon. But I'm Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
I'm Specialist David Erskine.
And I'm Sergeant Tim Andrews.
And we'll catch you in the next episode.